Yo people, welcome back to another video, and it is the Off the Boundary Show episode 9, and today we got a few big topics to discuss. We got the IPL 2023 season review, also where the Chennai Super Kings won it for the fifth time, equaling the Mumbai Indians. And we got the World Test Championship final now to preview, and then a short ODI series between the UAE and West Indies. So that's all to come in this jam-packed show. Oh, so make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell to never miss a live. So yeah, but I'm not alone. I am joined by the great, the fantastic Manny. Oh,
Yeah, good. I mean, obviously there's a lot of sports going on. I mean, the football season's finishing up. Got one cup final tomorrow, European, another one on Saturday, and of course there's the French Open going on. But this is a cricket show, and there are a lot of cricket headlines. So looking forward to speaking on them. Should be good fun.
yeah, it should be good fun. But yeah, it's been an eventful football season, but the cricket season is starting to get a bit interesting. Of course, the Ashes is approaching for Australia. This is a great warm up, you could say, if it is that. Um, and then for England, we will discuss a bit about them. Not much, but they test they played against the Irish. Um, at the end of the day, they did um, win comfortably against the Irish. So yeah, we'll, so
Well,
yeah,
let's not forget that the English win was not without some losses because Jack Leach, the left arm spinner, has been ruled out of the subsequent Ashes with a stress fracture in his lower back. And it's a sad injury to sustain because he was the only player to play in all England's 13 tests under the captaincy of Ben Stokes and the leadership on the sidelines of Brendan McCullum. And of course, with Stokes not playing one test, I don't quite remember who captained the team that day. It could have been probably someone else. I might have to look that up. But without Leach, England doesn't seem to have that much in terms of a frontline spinner. There has been talk of bringing back Moeen Ali for a one-off Ashes recall. I'm not really in favour of that because the fellow had made it crystal clear when he retired that he didn't want to go through the rigours of Test cricket anymore and enjoyed being a shorter format bowler. So to bring him back would, I just don't know if he would mentally be up for it necessarily, or what sort of a message it would send to some of the other bowlers in the team. It looks quite likely that England could either turn to the increasingly effective off spin of Joe Root, or even bring someone like a Liam Dawson into the team who would be a like-for-like replacement for Jack Leach. As far as the match was concerned, a huge double century from Ollie Pope in England's first innings, and I think that was pretty much what said it all. It was a game which England were never expected to be in which they were never expected to be made to struggle, and it was just it was really a case of how big the margin of victory would be. Credit to Ireland, of course, for avoiding an innings defeat, but it really was a question of all England really had to do, and just get it done whenever they needed to. So it was a big win, and I wouldn't necessarily say it benefited England too much, apart from match practice, and of course, with the injury to Leach, it's probably been a rather costly victory in a way.
yeah. True, true. We'll just quickly talk. I just saw about the ODI series that's coming up. Oh no, sorry, that's only in September. I saw Wednesday and
Between
also
between
yeah,
who?
England and Ireland only in September,
Uh,
latest September. So
yeah,
that's
to be honest, I'm not even sure why they'd want to play that series anyway, because England have already sealed their qualification. Ireland, of course, need to play in the playoffs to decide if they will make the tournament in India. And it could be a case of extra practice for the boys. Goodness knows they would need it, but they're improving and they're showing that they still have some talent. But they need to put in some more consistent, united performances as a team more than anything else.
yeah, true. But let's talk about the Test Championship. Um, I'll get the squad and that up. But yeah, this match, of course, two completely different teams. In this fixture, no, no New Zealand or Australia, I believe. No New Zealand or England. That
Yep.
it was last in it. So yeah, um, we got. I will get this. So Australia did finish above India, but they did play one game more. So yeah. But let me get try and
Yeah,
get
if you're
more.
going on Cricinfo, be very careful. And
Okay, yes, the squads. I got the squads. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. By the way, be up just fan. Says well done to the Super Kings, and then sings England, England. I'm just saying less of that, less of that. Come on, um, come on, come on, the
well,
Aussies.
if you're appealing to an English audience, you are going to get some England fans. You can't do too much about that, really.
Yeah. So no, one just. I'm just going to edit this layout, but where okay, so you guys might see some changes. Um, edit this. Um, mm, okay, there we go. So you might see some changes coming. Just want to sort this out. Um, and then oh, okay, make this then bigger. Okay, oops, there you go. Bring forward. So yeah, this should work. Mm, okay. Just let me know if you can see the lineups and stuff. Um,
Uh, I can, but it's a little bit small and a bit blurry. It's not really dominating the entire screen. You know what
okay,
I mean?
then we'll just go to
Now I
yeah,
can see it. Yeah.
yeah. I think that will work. Okay, so Australia, Pat Cummins, captain, vice captain Stephen Smith, then Scott Boland. Of course, he's a new exciting talent for the Aussies. Alex Carey, Cameron Green, interesting choice, including him. Marcus Harris, he's had a few interesting games. Travis Head, of course, he's survived this almost Australian career. Just English. Ingalls. Okay, an interesting one. Usman Khawaja, very controversial one. Manas Labuschagne or Labuskachny as Afrikaans. And then Nathan Lyon, Claude Murphy, Michael Nessa, Mitchell Stark, David Warner. Um, Manny, will you do the Indian team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Rohit Sharma captains the side, and of course Ashwin Ravichandran is the first name on this particular sheet. But there will be some debate as to whether he plays a role in this test. I think it's fair to say that his bowling, as he's gotten older, might have lost perhaps a little bit of the fizz that was there before, but his batting has certainly improved. So, I mean, you can't say with Australia's pace battery, you must think that he will have a role to play, especially if it comes when it comes down to, trying to sweep the spinner that might play for Australia. Ishan Kishan is, of course, a wicketkeeper batsman. Ravindra Jadeja, the all-rounder. Virat Kohli, the ex-captain and still a fine batsman. Mohammad Shami and Siraj are the seamers. Akshay Patel is another left-arm spinner, bowling all-rounder. Cheteshwar Pujara has fought his way back, and there is a surprise recall for Ajinkya Rahane based on his performances in the IPL, but he also did have a bit of a stint in county cricket. Shubman Gill, Shardul Thakur. Gill, of course, made headlines for his exploits in the IPL with the bat for the Gujarat Titans. Such a shame it couldn't quite get them over the line, but it is what it is. Of course, no such problems from Mr. Jadeja, as we will talk about later. Shardul Thakur, of course, is a bowler. Jayadev Unadkat, left arm seamer, I believe. If you can just go down a bit, please. And of course, Umesh Yadav, another fast bowler who makes up that particular pace battery. Go down a bit, please. Is there any more?
No, they aren't anymore.
Ah, right. So I'm a bit surprised. There are a few bowlers I'm a bit surprised aren't in the team, but maybe Arshdeep Singh, as a left arm quick himself, who would be useful on English pitches, is probably better suited to bowling in the shorter format and needs to work on his control a little bit. I don't see Ajinkya Rahane starting because obviously there was a period where he was dropped from the Test team and had to work his way back in. And so it would be a very big call to bring him in. The big omission from this particular squad list is that of Rahul K. Lokesh, or KL Rahul as he is otherwise known. He obviously had an
What's about
injury
you?
during the yeah he had an injury during the IPL, and I believe he ended up having to withdraw from this particular squad, and he normally plays as a wicketkeeper as well. So I believe they've gone for Srikhar Bharat, who is who has had experience of playing a few tests for India before, ahead of Ishan Kishan, who many of us will know from the IPL. Um, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who I think would play, but I can tell you that Rahane wouldn't be opening the batting. They might want to possibly try and open with Sharma and maybe Gill. Although if they do want some experience on English pitches, then maybe Rahane could make a shock return. Who knows? Because normally it would have been Rahul opening the batting, but now he's not there, so it could very well be that Rahane comes back. But Gill would be a very interesting attacking option, or he could. I don't see him trying to find a place lower down the order, down the order, because I'm certain that Sharma will want to have at least one or two all-rounders in there to make sure that he has a bigger bowling attack. So could very well be that Jadeja has a role to play, as does Akshay Patel. Although I really don't know if two left-arm spinners would be the way to go. It could very well be that Patel comes in and Ashwin comes along as an off-spinner to provide some decent batting. So that squad looks decently balanced, but the loss of Rahul is a little bit uh, is disconcerting. And of course, with Australia, I'm not too sure why you say Khawaja is controversial, because ever since coming back into the team, he's literally been in a purple patch of form. And of course, there is going to be some discussion as to whether or not he opens the innings instead of David Warner. Because Warner, I know he did decently well for the Delhi Capitals, getting a few 50s, but 2020 cricket and Test cricket are chalk and cheese. And in his last few innings, he's either gotten in and made a big score or he's gotten out fairly cheaply. So it has all the
Mm.
makings of the end of an era, with this potentially being Warner's last. It could be Warner's last test if he's selected and fails. I don't know if he'll be picked for the Ashes, and of course Steve Smith might not be around for much longer. So it does very well have the makings of the end of an era, and probably for the better, because the sandpaper gate issue is still something that really, really has made a lot of people angry, and I think Smith still doesn't realise how lucky he is to still be in the team, much less being given the responsibility of Pat Cummins vice captain. Of course, Cummins
True.
had to leave the India tour to be with his mother, who sadly passed away. He's hoping to play all tests during this English summer, but we will see what happens to him. And if he isn't able to make it, Smith will be a decent replacement. But I think Smith is also showing signs that he might be coming to the end of his international career with Australia too.
Yeah, yeah. Some surprises for me. Is Yadev not cut this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Shardul Thakur. I
Parkour,
don't
yeah,
expect.
parkour.
Um, is a surprise for me on the Australian side. Todd Murphy. Don't know much about him. Just English is also a surprise for me. Big one. Um, yeah, that's about that. Mm,
Hmm. I think obviously they want to go for some experience. And look, Inglis is probably going to be a backup because I expect Alex Carey to be given the nod. Inglis is probably more of a lower order batsman who is a tidy wicketkeeper, but Carey also is a more than decent batsman.
yeah,
So again, depending on what combination Australia play, it will be interesting to see which wicketkeeper is in fact chosen.
yeah. Zain says Ishan Kishan would shoot the modern day style because of his explosive batting. For me, Ishan Kishan is the modern day batter. Um, it's everything you want. In a batsman, he can hit the ball far, but he can also be very good defensively. And the fact that his name and his surname rhymes is also very good. Yeah,
Yeah, sort of a novelty there in a way. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that ever since the Bazball revolution, Test batting lineups have become a lot more aggressive, and in a way, I suppose it's okay to see. But one of the biggest issues that I have, Hanno, is that when England played against New Zealand, they could have potentially won that series, but ended up losing it. I think they lost. Um, I mean, they didn't lose it. I think they tied it, but they could have won it. They lost that test with James by about one run, with James Anderson gloving to the wicketkeeper down the leg side, and that was something like a rare loss. But they've made their commitment to stick to the way they've been batting, and they say it's served them well. But for me, in Test cricket, there's always going to be room for the more correct batsmen who know how to play circumspectively when the situation demands. Of course, not too circumspectively, because I believe that was an issue which had affected Joe Root when he was captain of England, and when Stokes replaced him. Um, it was with a new attacking sort of approach, and even Root has had to adapt his game to become a lot more paid off. But I just don't want to see with this England lineup sloppy shots, which could lead to batting collapses, because that could potentially. I mean, you don't get any bigger than the Ashes, obviously, and of course England will have a large number of tests, but they will also want to show that they are capable of using the Plan B and not just going gung ho with their Plan A, if you know what I mean. Hanno, are you there, son?
Oh yeah, yeah. My mic was just muted. Um. So yeah. But I don't want to do predictions. Um. Okay, we will do predictions. Who do you think will win it, of course, and then who do you think will come out on top after they won?
It's hard to say because I take a look at the bowling attacks, and when you play in England during the summer, the pitches are normally going to favour the bowlers. Although I don't know if this particular pitch might end up being a bit more batsman friendly. I take a look at obviously the loss of Jasprit Bumrah for India is a big blow because he's certainly capable of bowling well in these English conditions. So it's effectively Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj, and Shardul Thakur, and one or two others who will be expected to do quite well. But up against Pat Cummins and company, of course, there's no Josh Hazlewood in this particular team, but I think Cameron Green and one or two other bowlers have proven their worth. And I think Cummins has also really stepped up to the plate magnificently as captain ever since the whole controversy with Tim Payne exploded. And I think this series could very well be, the making of him. If he can secure a series victory in England, which Tim Payne very nearly did, then this will be certainly a feather in his cap and certainly provide more support to him, his continuing in the job for as long as he's fit. And certainly, if Smith and Warner no longer play for Australia and Cummins can't captain the team, you have to wonder who could replace him. Maybe Usman Khawaja, maybe Alex Carey if he's the first choice wicketkeeper. I don't know, but I fancy Australia to come out on top because I think they've got the better bowling attack, and Nathan Lyon obviously will have a very big role to play as an off spin on these English pitches. He might perhaps have occasionally been smacked around in India, but in England you can expect him to really dictate play. So I'm going for Australia to win this. If they bat first, they should win by about 50 runs. But if they bowl first and bat second, then they should win by about, I want to say, 5 wickets.
No confidence from one Indian compatriots. Um,
I'm English. I'm an Englishman. I cheer for England over India, but I just think that I just don't think India have the bowlers to be able to exploit those conditions. I mean, the spinners are decent quality, but
the
I mean,
bowlers.
I mean, if Ashwin doesn't play, then that handicaps the team because you're depending a bit too much on Akshar Patel and maybe Ravindra Jadeja to provide the spin, and Patel can certainly be hit out of the park.
Yeah, but again, looking at that bowling attack from India, Mohammad Siraj, he's good on his day. Um, Umesh Yadav, 50-50. Mohammad Shami is probably really the only one that stands out as a batter, as a big bowler. So yeah, so my prediction, I'm going to go with Australia. Yeah, also, but not as big. If they bat first, I'm going to say 20, 20 runs,
Ooh.
and then if they bowl first, I'm going to say let's go 4 wickets. 4 wickets.
So a
Um,
lot tighter, huh?
yeah,
Interesting.
just a lot tighter. But we got Ben's thoughts on the final. He says, fingers crossed for the ultimate battle. Looking at the lineups, Australia look pretty potent with the favorites to win the uh, the match. With a handy batting depth and formidable bowling attack wo- along the likes of Starr, Cummins, Boland, and Lyon. Looking at India's lineup, they don't seem as strong as that's of the Aussies with their key players Punt and Boomerang missing out. Punt was the ultimate X factor with his presence being second to none. India will be unfortunately missing the likes off a vital counter-attack like punt and the lead of Indians pace bowler Jasprit Bumrah. With his the set of vari- variations which would have truly boosted the formidability of Indians' bowling attack. England on England's snappy conditions. Would love to see Kishan get the nod ahead of Bharat to really see the brute force he might offer with bat and his performance with the glove as a wicket keeper in the place of Pant. The bowling template will be decided by skipper Rohit Sharma,
Oh yeah,
depending.
Rishabh Pant isn't in the squad either. I just forgot about that.
Yeah, the bowling template will be decided by skipper Rohit Sharma, depending upon the match day, which decides whether Ashwin makes it to the playing 11 or not. The main area of focus has to be Indians batting, and it all comes down to India as top five batters providing due stability to the innings with a fragile lower order head in the absence of a counter-attacker like Punt in order to get their clutches onto the game. Gonna be truly exciting contest and a match of dreams to look forward to. Um, so yeah, again, I think he's back in the Aussies in what he's saying there. So yeah, so all
Yeah.
back in the Aussies. Um, and new cricket fan we got on. Um, Krish is an India fan. He says, I think it will be a great game and a close one, but I think India will come out on top. So it's back in
Ooh.
India. So yeah, Jason says Australia will win. When big up James says Metla versus England stream. Yeah, of course, I believe that's what under 20 World Cup possibly. Um, and to talk about there, so we'll quickly discuss the UAE versus West Indies ODI series. Let me just get that for you. I will just move this. So they're currently playing. The UAE are on 170 for five. They have 9 overs left to get 137 runs. Don't think they're going to do that, so I think the second ODI was Indies will clinch the series. Um, yeah, they should clinch the series. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
once again with the UAE, we find it's mainly a bunch of amateurs who play as a hobby. I know they're contracted to the UAE Cricket Board as well, but they also have most of them also have full-time jobs. And for all the talent that some of them have, I do like their leg spinner Karthik Mayappan, who certainly shone during the ICC World 2020 qualifiers that were held in Australia. You can't rely on just him and one or two of those star players to, really contribute. And I think the Irish team, for instance, are finding that out the hard way. So, yeah, the West Indies obviously are looking to try to get whatever practice they can get. I don't necessarily believe that playing against the UAE will really help them very much. But, you know, I suppose at this particular point in time, you have to take whatever cricket you can get, whatever practice you can get. And it's a good chance for the West Indies batsmen to get into a little bit of form. I know Brandon King scored a century in the first ODI, and some 70s at the top of the order in this game got them to above 300. And the UAE batting was never going to really be in the hunt to chase down that target.
yeah, yeah. But a question I got for you: will they do a clean sweep of this ODI series?
Well, I mean, they have to. If they don't, I think they're going to have to look back on the one match they've didn't win and say, we completely mucked up. Because look, teams like the UAE, Hannah, will certainly play above themselves to try and qualify for major tournaments. But we all know that in barring an occasional good result or performance or even a win, they don't really do very much. And this particular team is still, in many ways, lacking in terms of quality. So a team like the West Indies, even though they're a far cry from the all-conquering teams of years gone by, at least in the shorter formats, they know that this is the series which they need to use to fill their boots.
Yeah, true. Um, yeah, West Indies should win that. Um, Next we're going to come to Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan. The third ODI taking place. Um, both teams have one ODI, so this is also taking place tomorrow. So Afghanistan won the first ODI with getting 269. Sorry, chasing Sri Lanka's targets of 268 and getting that pretty convincingly, winning by 6 wickets. Then Sri Lanka again they batted first. They put up a target of 423 years, and then Afghanistan got uh, they were bowled out for 191. So, question to you is who will win this one?
Well, this is really an interesting particular series because I'm just taking a look at the scorecard for the first match, which saw Afghanistan, secure a brilliant win, a six-wicket win. Obviously, with Sri Lanka, there were a few decent contributions with the bat. Charith Asalanka getting run out 9 runs short of what would have been a good century, a 50 from Dhananjaya de Silva, but no one else really making a substantial contribution. And as far as the bowlers were concerned, the Afghanistanis really stuck to their task and bowled manfully and didn't concede too many runs. And of course, Ibrahim Zadran, spare a thought for him. 2 runs short of a magnificent ODI century, run a ball. He and I think Rahmat Shah provided the foundation for really, this amazing win with that partnership of 146 for the second wicket. And then, of course, it was, but even though they lost wickets every 40 or so runs, they were more or less home and dry. Hassan Raja, numbers really were able to, really a game which Sri Lanka never should have lost, but they simply Sri Lanka
Mhm.
responded magnificently. It was interesting to hear the ex-England coach Chris Silverwood, who is now, of course, coaching Sri Lanka, talking about a blueprint for this. Um, yeah, I mean, if there is a blueprint, it's quite obvious here. Scores of 40 and above among the top 4 batsmen, useful contributions of over 20 runs each. Only Asalanka failing after his exploits in the first ODI. And then, of course, 3 wickets apiece for Hasaranga and Dhananjaya de Silva, spinners. And Zadran again continuing a great series. Rahmat Shah likewise. Hashmatullah Shahidi is, of course, the new Afghanistan captain, having replaced Mohammad Nabi. And there are, of course, several. Uh, there is no Rashid Khan here because obviously I think he might have been tired from his IPL exploits, and we're going to talk about that. But with Rahman Lagurbaz, Ibrahim and Najibullah Zadran, Mohammad Nabi, Noor Ahmed, of course, was in the IPL, but he was picked to play. Um, there is still a bit of experience in this Afghanistan team, but again, if they don't click as a team, they just don't win. And that's the problem with all of these smaller teams, whether they're test nations like Afghanistan or Ireland or like the UAE. I fancy Sri Lanka to continue their good work and make sure they win because they will have realized that the first defeat was a blip which never should have happened, and they'll make sure it never happens again. But yeah, easy Sri Lanka win in the third game. Hannah?
Yeah,
Hello.
sorry.
Ah, cool, cool,
Uh,
cool.
I'm going to go with an Afghanistan one. I think they do it. Come on. I always love the Afghanistan. And so yeah. But that IPL 2023 season review. Um so yeah, before we get started, I'm just going to put my laptop on so yeah. Um this one, where do we start? So I guess best place is to start with the team that finished last, and that is of course the um, Sunrisers Hyderabad. They finished unfortunately last.
Ooh.
If we look at the table, they finished last on 8 points. Um, they recorded 4 wins, 10 losses. So I think from the beginning they were going to be on the chopping block, and at the end of the day they were. Um, so yeah. Um, so again, disappointing from them. So yeah. But what did you expect? What did you made of them?
Yeah, well, I wasn't really expecting the Sunrisers to finish that low in the table. I mean, I'll tell you what, the way Delhi Capitals had started their season, I didn't think they would amount to very much, but I credit them for their recovery. If I can just take a look at the the IPL database really, and just
Yes.
I want to take a look at basically the fixtures that they had and why they just completely.
Um. So they played the Rajasthan Royals. I'll share my screen quickly as I got that up. So they played the Rajasthan Royals. They lost by a very big amount. They played the Lucknow Super Giants. Then in the third game, they picked up a win. And then second game, they also picked up a win. So you thought they were on the rise. Then they lost to Mumbai. They lost to CSK. They lost to Delhi. Then they beat Delhi at home. So that's the 3 wins. And then they lost to Lucknow. Lucknow again. They lost to the Titans. They lost to RCB and lost to the Mumbai Indians. So I'm just going to count one, two. Yeah, they beat KKL. Wait, they got 4 wins. Where's the fourth one? Oh, Delhi. Oh, also they beat Rajasthan in the
if I
other one. They
if
beat
I could pin
Rajasthan.
if I could pinpoint where their season started to go horribly wrong, I think losing to the Delhi Capitals didn't really help because the Capitals, as you know, started the season horribly, and that win over the Rajasthan Royals off the last ball was really in the middle of the phase of the Royals simply cracking and just completely choking. But it was really no consolation for them. I think maybe one of the issues with the Royals is that so many of their star players never really showed up to be to make themselves counted. But you can't really do you can't really do expect too much of a team where some of their players aren't quite able to make the most of their thing here. Like I want to try and yeah, this is the I've got the final here with me, and I'm just trying to get the full. Uh, I do have the
Yeah,
full
go
table
so
here.
for it.
So yeah, 4 wins and 10 losses has not really helped them. And if we can,
Go
yeah,
back to.
captained by Aidan Markram and coached by Brian Lara. Uh,
I just think it was the quality of the squad that let them down. I think just that big thing. It's the quality of the squad, really. And
yeah,
of course, losing your main man, David Warner.
yeah, he went to the Capitals, didn't he? And also they lost Kane Williamson, who went to the Gujarat Titans.
Yeah, true. So they lost their two star men. Next we're going to look at my team, the Delhi Capitals. They finished their record on 5 wins and 9 losses. Staying up by 2 points or not finishing last. Um, Now from the beginning, I believe you and Ben were very excited about our squad, but I was one of few that said I don't think we have that big time batting player, and that turned out to be very true. If you look some of the totals, we he put up 143 in the first match. 162, that's a bit better than 142 again. Then 172 again, better than 151 again. 128 8 there against KKR. Somehow we beat them. 144 somehow again we beat the Sunrisers. Um, when we score big total we lose. Then we defended 130 against the Gura Titans. I don't know how, but we did it. Um, Then RCB, we beat them finally. Looked like after that match, we looked like we were going somewhere, and then we played CSK. We lost 140 again against Punjab, 160, 136. Sorry. Then we score over 200, and then the last match, 146. So awful batting displays at some times, and I don't think the bowling also lived up to expectations. So yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
get that, and I think it's fair to say again that so much hinges on the batting in the IPL, the 2020 cricket, that if the batsman can't really give you consistently big totals and get big scores, then it's going to be a real big problem. So yeah, they just looked. I think you started horribly and things didn't get any better, didn't get too much better. And by the time you were able to get on a decent run of form, it was pretty much too little, too late. So
yeah. Um, Next thing we're going to look into is the Punjab Kings. Um, so yeah, they finished their season on 6 wins and 8 losses. They tied their um, campaign with KKR and finished out of the top four by 2 wins. Um, their record 6-8-8. Um, sorry, 14-6-8, not 6-8-8. 6-8, 6 wins, 8 losses. Um, their matches they beat KKR in the first match, then they beat Rajasthan in Woofing. Oh, this team they're getting in that 190s. Surely they're going to produce. Then they play the Sunrisers. They get 143. They beat. They lose to the Titans 150 again. Very low scoring game that. They beat the Lucknow Super Giants by no, yeah, it is that much. They beat them by 2 wickets. Close game. They lose to RCB again, 150. They beat Mumbai and they lose. Then they beat CSK. Then they lose. So very inconsistent team. They lose to KKR. They beat DC. They beat then they lose to DC. And then they lose to the Rajasthan Royals on the final day. So very inconsistency from the Punjab Kings. Really, that's the main thing that costed them. What do you think,
Yeah, again,
Ronnie?
I think their home form certainly didn't really help matters much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, son? Yeah, yeah. Their
Yeah,
home
I
form
can hear.
certainly didn't help matters much because they were losing. They were losing quite a lot of games at home, and when you're home, you are asking for a little bit of trouble. And again, such pressure was put on their own batsmen. I'm pretty certain David Miller was a part of that team. I'm not too sure. No, no, no. Miller wasn't with them, I think, this time around. But again, when you have too much pressure on the batting and the bowlers who are supposed to be quite famous, not really doing their bit, it's always going to be difficult. I think a lot was expected of the left arm seamers Ashdeep Singh and Sam Curran. Curran did quite well in patches, but Ashdeep was, I think, not very fortunate in many cases and was hit around the park quite a lot. So yeah, that was the big problem with Punjab basically, and I think they're going to have to really work on strengthening their batting and make sure that their players can adapt to the pressure.
Yeah, yeah, agree on that. Next, we come to KKR, a team that finished, I think, where most people predicted them to finish. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
so of
so
course they lost to Punjab. They beat RCB, they beat the Titans, then they lose to SRH, they lose to SRH, they lose to Delhi, they lose to CSK, then they beat RCB. So I think this period, these 4 games, where they are expected to win. In most of them, they were expected to beat DC. They were expected to beat Sunrisers. I think that cost them mostly. They lose the Titans. They beat SRH. They beat Punjab, and they lose to the Royals. And then they beat the CSK. And again, this game they lose to the Lucknow by 1-1. 3 games I already pointed out, which they should win. Give them those 3 points, and they finish second. Um, yeah, 14, 16, 18. 18. They beat the Lucknow on the last day. They beat DC and they beat SRH when they needed to, and they finished second. So again, disappointing from them. KKL. So yeah, again their record also 6-8. Um, minus 0.23, which separates them and the Punjab Kings. So yeah, your thoughts on this?
on the Kolkata Knight Riders.
Yeah,
Again, also a lot expected of several of their marquee signings. I think losing Shakib Al Hassan didn't really help them, but still, it's another reminder that you need to make sure that you have a team of players who perform all around the squad, and not just one or two who are expected to carry the team. And yeah, very disappointing season for them as well, given that they could have been expected to challenge, but. Um, yeah, it's another disappointing season, and they're going to have to regroup and regroup quickly if they want to get back among the top. Because I do seem to remember that in 2014 they won the tournament. Seems like a long way away, a long time ago.
Yeah, it does seem like that. And then we're going to talk about the bottlers, RCB. Um, we just
Oh,
needed to win the
there are two bottlers in that table, not just RCB, but RCB. We will
and
start with them
Rajasthan,
first. Yep,
but RCB they beat Mumbai. They lose to KL. Fair enough. If they lose to um, Lucknow by a wicket.
off the last
Um,
ball.
on the last ball, they beat the C. They lose to CSK. They beat Punjab. Um, they beat Rajasthan. They beat. They lose to KKR. They beat Lucknow. They lose to Delhi. That's already a win they should have gotten. Um, they lose to Mumbai. They beat Rajasthan, and then all they need to do is is all they needed to do is
Beat
get a win, get 3 wins in their last 5 games. That's all they needed to do. Look at the table, got better goal uh, net run rate. If they beat St. Delhi, I can't tell you ruin it for all the teams. They beat St. Delhi, they would have won. Mumbai, fair enough, you almost never beat Mumbai. The Titans again, they lose to the Titans at home when you're supposed to win. And I'll go back to that. When you're supposed to win, you need to win, and you lose to them with 5 balls remaining. Um, so yeah, so yeah, disappointing bottlers, in my opinion. What's about you?
I agree completely. You're put into a great position where you win. All you need to do is win, and then you completely choke. A bit like what Borussia Dortmund did in Germany. I think the team should be in need of a bit of a reshuffle because you can't depend on Francois Duplessis to stay with the team for too long. He's getting on a little bit. Um, Coley also might want to have a new challenge, although maybe publicly he said he wants to stay with RCB. But it just goes to show that when certain players reach a certain age, and if they're not, I mean, if the results really aren't good, then this is the same Bangalore team which took the decision to get rid of their own marquee player, Rahul Dravid, when things weren't quite going well. He went on to captain the Rajasthan Royals and very nearly took them to a second IPL title and the Champions League title. Underrated captain he was, never got the credit that he deserved. But I think there needs to be a little bit of an overhaul, and I think some of the older players who have done their dash, I think, will need to be told to dash off. That might be the only way, and Kohli has to really decide. If he has decided to stay, then good for him. But does he really want to go through the grind of playing for Bangalore all over again, and having that reputation once again being, unfavorably stuck on him? It's his call now, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Scotty's call. Really. So yeah. But next we're going to go back to another bottler in the Rajasthan Royals. They started off this season with a good one over SRH. They lose to Punjab. They beat DC. They beat CSK. They beat the Titans. You're thinking, oh, this team is going to run away with the league. Um, they lose to Lucknow. They lose to RCB. They beat CSK again. They do the double over CSK. They lose to Mumbai. They lose to the Titans. They just need, I believe, what in this position, what they just need to get 2 wins. Just need to get 2 wins. Sorry, 3 wins, and they in the playoffs. They lose to the Sunrisers and they lose to RCB. Both both elsewhere chasing 171 on 59 in the 10th over.
That
Even
really
in
destroyed their run rate.
Yeah, these two games, SRH and RCB, beat one of these two and you're in the playoffs. Cause
Exactly.
Punjab, you beat them. You beat KKR. Um, what else? But yeah, again, inconsistency. That's one thing I forgot to add. Add also with the with RCB, also very inconsistent. So yeah, but
Yeah.
this is your team.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was delighted with the way we started, but clearly the loss to the Mumbai Indians at the Wankerhead was an absolute choker. Seeing Jason Holder getting hit for three consecutive sixes by Timothy David was sickening in many ways. It just goes to show what sort of thinking is going on in the think tank. Obviously, the Royals were very happy to make it clear that they had full confidence in Sanju Samson's leadership. But when you've got several current or former captains in the squad, the likes of Butler, the likes of Holder, and I think one or two others, you know, Joe Root, of course, some former England Test captain. Um, you have to think that a lot of these decisions made have to be sensible decisions, and you got the winning goal, captain of the world champion 2020 team. Just didn't make it doesn't make any sense, and I think there were several occasions where many of the players showed that they were on good form, but when it came to the crunch, a lot of them disappointed. Jaiswal was easily the player of the season, and Chahal continued his terrific performances, and several others did make some contributions. But in the end, it was a question of really choking and losing all that confidence, and I think Rajasthan probably never recovered from their second thing in many ways, or or whatever. So yeah, there were some good individual performances, but nobody apart from Jaiswal and maybe Chahal, nobody was really consistent enough. And I think in terms of captaincy, it might be time to end the Samson experiment. And if Josh Butler is returning for another season, at least another season or two, he should have the captaincy because we need to get rid of all this ridiculous muddled thinking, really.
Yeah, yeah. Next we come to Mumbai Indians. Placed 16th with a record of 8-6. Barely. I believe they secured it on the final day. So they lose to OSB on the final day. They lose to CSK. Then they beat DC. They beat KKR. They beat SRH. They lose to Punjab. They lose to Titans. They beat Rajasthan. They beat Punjab. They lose to CSK. They beat RCB. They beat the Titans. They, they lose to Lucknow, I think. This was a shaky result. Um, they had. Let me just go back to that. Um, they beat SRH. They beat Lucknow, and then they lose to the Titans on the final day. But it was secured. If I believe if RCB, believe if RCB RCB won on the final day. Um, Let me just check the the stuff. What is it? Yeah, if RCB um did beat um the Titans their last game, they would have won. And the Titans, so the Titans lost to beat RCB and Mumbai. So if only RCB would beaten the Titans, they would have secured it. But they did get playoffs. And get they did beat the Lucknow Super Giants in the eliminator. They did make it to the qualifier, but lost to the Titans, unfortunately. So yeah, your view on this?
Yeah, when it comes to batting units, I think Mumbai Indians once again show that they have the best batting unit in the IPL, especially when it comes to the lower order batsmen. Of course, there is no more Kyron Pollard, but when you've got Cameron Green and Timothy David in your side, and of course a certain Surya Kumar Yadav, you can never rest as a bowling unit. And it did take a magnificent innings from Mumbai Indians to really put the match beyond them.
Oh, has he frozen?
Yeah. There's a problem. There's a problem with the internet connection. I was just saying that Mumbai have shown that they're the best batting unit in the IPL, especially going low down the order. There is no more Kyron Pollard, but when you can boast Timothy David and Cameron Green,
Yeah. Mm, Oh, I think he's frozen now for good. Yeah, I think he has. Um. So yeah, we'll stay on that. Uh, Charles answers get the likes of 20. On how many likes are we? That's a good thing to check. Um, Let me check. Mm, Currently on 10. If you can get to 15, that would be good. That would be good, yeah. Okay, it's back, it's back. Oh, mm,
yeah, I've just
okay.
changed my
Yeah,
internet connection, so it should be a lot better. So
yeah,
from the beginning, I've always said that the Mumbai Indians have the best batting unit in the IPL. If you can boast of the likes of Cameron Green, Tim David, and of course Surya Kumar Yadav in your team, then you're very lucky indeed. It did take a huge innings of brilliance from Gill to really put the match beyond them. Otherwise, I was expecting that Mumbai would go through and go on to actually win the whole thing, especially if it came to the question of whether their sling bowler, uh, Patirana rather, would have lost his line. But we're going to get to the final in a minute. We're going to get to the team, obviously get to CSK in a minute. And again, it was a question of this time around Mumbai not being able to win the big moments. They did make it to the playoffs by the skin of their teeth because they had the better record, but their run rate wasn't really the best. And I just think you know, they did what they had to do, but they for some reason didn't quite look as convincing. Although when they beat the Rajasthan Royals, I think that really gave them a lot of confidence at the wank ahead. They still have a really good team. A lot was made about Arjun Tendulkar, Sachin's son, playing a big role, but he didn't really do too much. But the team, it's still a decent all-round team. Obviously, it's not the same team with which had Kyron Pollard in it, but they're still trying to. I think they will come back and be a force next season, especially if we take a look at CSK. They are going to be a team in transition. But, Mumbai had a comparatively decent outing this time around, given that they, still made the playoffs and could have made the final. I just think that they're going to need a few slight improvements, but they're going to be back next season with a vengeance, and they will be among the favourites to win next time around.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. They do. And next is the Lucknow Super Giants made the playoffs, and unfortunately they got eliminated in the um eliminated against the Mumbai. But they beat DC. They lost to CSK. They beat Sunrisers. They beat RCB. They lost to Punjab. They beat the Rajasthan Royals. Lost to the Titans. They beat Punjab again. They lost to RCB. Then that's rain out results against CSK. I think they would have lost. The Titans they lost. They beat Sunrisers. They beat Mumbai. They beat KKR, and then they lose to Sunrise. But these last four matches really put them together. I think that's what got them over the line is that they into the season again. Very good improvement from last season where they didn't make the playoffs. Um, and especially with the Titans making it. Oh wait, they did make it last season. I thought they didn't. They all finished in the same position. So again, but I don't believe they. Oh, this they made it to the playoff this time. Um, mm, mm, I wanna look at last season, not this season. But yeah, last season they finished also third, so fair enough. I thought they didn't, so yeah. But Manny, your thoughts on the Lucknow Super Giants?
I think they had a decent season, all things considered. And of course, the fact that one of their games against CSK was rained out meant that, they had the good fortune of being able to get an extra point, which proved crucial in their passage to the playoffs. Not that RCB and RR can have any complaints because they had their chances, obviously, to secure their spot in the playoffs after decent starts, and they just couldn't capitalize, and they ended up deservedly not qualifying, which was a big disappointment for me. I still enjoy watching the Royals play. I think they've got a wonderful philosophy of bringing in a lot more younger players while somehow managing to get enough international talent to make the team competitive. But you know, over to the LSG, like the Super Giants, I think they, as a team, they certainly made sure they punched above their weight and did everything they had to do. And it was a decent season, even if it wasn't quite the progress that they had hoped for. They could still be quite happy that they reached the playoffs. So yeah, I think next season again they're going to they'll be expected to do some pretty to try and go one better if they can, and maybe see if they can improve their team and improve their performances, go a little bit further. And if they do, then watch out for them. They could cause more surprises in the tournament.
Yeah, they definitely can. Um, so yeah, should we do CSK first or Titans? I think let's do the Titans first. Of course, finished top of the log with 20 points. They played CSK in the first match of the T20 IPL. They beat them. They beat DC. They lost to KKR. They beat Punjab. They lost to Rajasthan. They beat the Lucknow Super Giants. They beat MI. They beat KKR. I think these three wins was critical for them. They lost to DC. They beat Rajasthan. They beat Lucknow. They lost to Mumbai. They beat Sunrisers. They beat RCB, um, and then yeah, they lose to CSK in the playoff. Of they beat Mumbai in the in the they beat yeah in the playoff they lose to Mumbai in the other playoff and they lose. Sorry, they beat Mumbai in the other playoff and they lose to CSK um, on of Douglas Luaf method. I think they did really well. Almost won the tournament again. Very good. So yeah.
Yeah, they choked in the final. It has to be said because they did magnificently to, really stifle Chennai in their chase with a few balls to go. But then, how do you suddenly go from doing that to conceding a 6 and a 4 of the final balls to lose the game? And I think. You mentioned that Mohammad Shami would have an important role to play for India in the Test Championship, but I think he's going to want to forget about that IPL final in a hurry. And it was,
Question I got for you. Me
yeah,
and my dad also debate this on a regular basis when the IPL is on. Do you think there's some type of match fixing involved? Of course, if you look at the balls bowled, you're defending 10 rounds, you're in the final. Look at the balls bowled. For me, you're not gonna bowl those balls if you are sensible. For me, so I think there's always some type of money scheme going on in some of these games. I don't know about you.
yeah, it might be an easy accusation to make, and certainly, the IPL has been affected by match fixing before. I believe my Rajasthan Royals and the Chennai Super Kings were both banned for a couple of years, and several of the players from both franchises had to, be moved to other franchises if they wanted to continue to play in the subsequent seasons. Um, I really don't know if it's necessarily match fixing. I just think it was the case that for a bowler like Mohammad Shami, even he with all his years of experience, he just lost sight of the proper delivery to bowl, and he's obviously played for India, bowled for India in major tournaments, and it can happen to anyone. I really don't want to suggest any kind of match fixing because, what would it benefit the Titans to let the Super Kings win and give Dhoni a final send off? I mean, now of course, now that I think about it, there's every reason that that could possibly happen because Dhoni is considered such a titan of Indian cricket, but I'm actually one of the few cricket observers that am not really very fond of Dhoni, and I have my reasons. I don't want to, get into it, and if certainly if Ben is watching this, he won't be very happy hearing me say that. But I don't think there was any real match fixing per se. It was just a case of the experienced Shami completely losing his marbles and not really. He selected the wrong deliveries to bowl at the wrong time, and that's pretty much how it panned out. Um, so as I said, the Titans choked, and how they choked will be something that they're going to want to look at. All these, I know that a lot of people will look back on all these. Exciting finishes and say this is why the IPL is the best league in the world. But equality doesn't always provide you quality, as it were. And any team can. If we take a look at, I think Gujarat actually proved that even if Mumbai had the best batting team this unit, Gujarat were the best performing team, easily the most consistent team under the captaincy of Hardik Pandya, and they were quite worthy of their spot in the playoffs. For the Super Kings, if we're going to do a review on them, I think we'll probably do a review of the Super Kings and the Titans together. The Super Kings, to me, are quite frankly a team which plays the IPL well in that they have a poor start but get there get into the groove at the right time and keep their momentum, and that serves them quite well. And that's another factor that when you have someone like Tony in your team who's been there and done that with the franchise, you just know that uh, with Chennai, it's not going to be easy sailing. But still, the that match was there for the Titans to win because the sling bowler Patirana was exceptionally erratic and conceded more than a few. But I think the Titans failed to truly take advantage of the great work their batsmen did by not being able to really affect the combination of Gaikwad and Conway, and that really set them back a little bit. So no match fixing as such. It was just a case of you know the Titans failing to really win the big moments and flattering to deceive. But maybe if this doesn't make them more determined to um, set it right and reclaim the title next year, nothing will.
Yeah, true, true, true. Um, so yeah, we'll talk about the CSK now. Of course, they started off their season with a loss to the Titans. They beat Lucknow. They beat Mumbai. They lost to Rajasthan. Beat our speed. They beat SIH. Um, they beat KKR. They lost. I think these three wins got them over the line in the end. They
D-
lost to
don't
Punjab.
forget that when they played the Super Giants, that match was rained off, so they got an extra point, which helped them
Yeah,
in the final
true.
analysis.
And then great end to the season for them. Um, beat Mumbai, beat DC twice, beat the Titans, of course, in the final. Oh, these the last four games they won three out of the four, and that basically took them over the line. I
Yeah,
spent to be a
what angered me about their run of games was that the Royals were the only team to do the double on them, and on both occasions, the Super Kings looked, like paupers rather than kings, really, and that should have given the Kings, I mean the Royals, the motivation to really kick on and continue their form. But but while they lost steam, uh, the Super Kings gained momentum at the right time and won the matches they needed to win. And again, that's sort of how you navigate a tournament like the IPL. So yeah, they're sort of the team to. I wouldn't say the team to beat, but they're the team which clearly has in Tony and Jadeja and company the players who really take to the IPL like a duck to water. And it was just a case of experience and now some shining through in the end. But they also, let's be honest, had their share of good fortune. And I don't think even the
especially
staunchest,
in the final
yeah,
with the rain.
I don't even think the staunchest CSK supporter will deny that they had their share of luck.
I
Don't
think
get me wrong, of course, yeah,
the rain in the final helped them a lot.
yeah, but listen, it's not easy to bat second in the final because bear in mind you are chasing an even bigger target in less overs comparatively. But with the rain obviously playing some spoil sport, I don't know if the pitch got affected, but clearly the bowlers just weren't quite able to do the damage that needed to be done, and that sort of sealed the Titans' fate in a way.
Mm, yeah, true, true, definitely. But yeah, um, the
But
Titans.
a thing about the Super Kings though, with Dhoni and Raidu retiring, there is going to be a bit of a leadership void in that team. So who could possibly take over the captaincy? Could it be Jadeja, who is also getting on a little bit? Could it be Moeen Ali, who has led England in uh, shorter games before, who will really take over the reins. This is going to be a transitional team, and next season we might have to look out for them to possibly struggle.
Yeah, they could definitely struggle next season. So yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that's mostly that. I'll get into Mr. Ben's comments about it. Of course, he is a CSK fan, so this will seem very biased. So, my thoughts regards to the IPL. Absolutely over the moon with Chennai winning the fifth IPL title, which makes CSK the best team of the IPL. In terms of success, CSK equal Mumbai Indians with the joint most titles in terms of consistency. CSK are the best by far, making it to the finals 10 times, which remained unparalleled, truly certifying CSK to be the best by far. Therefore, it pretty much sums up the C in CSK. Um, Sums up the C in CSK. Stands for the team's unparalleled consistency. Props to MS Dhoni and co for the standout leadership and clutch performance with a fairy tale ending to the skipper's stellar career, well and truly deserved. So yeah,
Very, forthright, direct, straight to the point. Huge fan of the franchise. Couldn't expect anything less from him, really.
true. Uh, but yeah, I think that's the end. If you guys got any questions, we'll give a few moments. If you guys got any questions, of course, be up Spencer. I might do, depending on how my days go tomorrow. I might do watch on to West Ham versus Fiorentina. Depending on how my days they go. So yeah. Um,
That should be fun. I mean, the Conference League final, West Ham in the European final for the first time in I don't know how many years. I remember back in the days when uh, Bobby Moore, Martin Peters and company were there before winning the World Cup. They won the then European Cup Winners' Cup with an excellent win over 1860 Munich in the final. So yeah, this is going to be a big game for them, but they're up against a Fiorentina team which will also be determined to win. And of course, West Ham last season made the semi-finals of the Europa League, but couldn't quite get over the line. It will be interesting to see if they can go one better. But yeah, that should be interesting. And I hope if you're doing a watch along, I'll hope to join you.
yeah, no, that would be fun, and I will try and get other people also involved. But yeah, that's the end of that. If you want to know anything about the Test Championship final or the IPL, of course, and then Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan, the crucial Fed ODI taking place tomorrow. Um, so yeah, if you guys got anything you want to do, then want to know, go rewind, watch this. But yeah, be up money, and be up everyone that puts in a comment. So yeah, money quickly shut your socials.
Yeah, catch me on Instagram at MannyThungadurai1981. That's my full name and my year of birth. If you want to catch me on Twitter, it's Thungadurai1981, which is my surname and my year of birth. Catch me on several channels on YouTube. Big up, of course, to Hanno. Always happy to join him on this channel and do some work together for cricket, football, or any kind of sports. We are also, of course, in the middle of the French Open, and we could possibly have a program on that, talking about the tournament in question and how it's panned out. Djokovic, of course, won today after a pretty tough battle against Kakhanov of Russia. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can go better, and if he wins this French Open, he will be probably the only player to win every single Grand Slam at least thrice. Further, cementing his place, in my opinion, as the greatest player of all time. He's got the all-court game, and the game for all surfaces. But obviously, Hanno disagrees. I love Roger Federer. Federer a great deal. Absolutely beautiful player, but when it comes to just consistency and winning, and really being a master of all surfaces, Djokovic, as much as he's a bit of a little bit of a loose cannon at times, he is a fine player. But that's pretty much it from this cricket edition, and we will be having more cricket shows as well, especially with the World Cup
Yeah,
coming up soon. So thanks a lot
definitely.
once again for joining. To all of those in the chat, Chelsea fans, Spencer Stewart, and
Um,
several others. Yeah, Hannah will respond to all of these answers, but once again, thanks for joining, and I'll let him take us through to the end.
yeah. This one, look, I'm very happy for Birmingham City fans. They deserve every bit of this. Um, the club was in turmoil. It looked like um, it was going to get a turn for the worse. With relegation and with mid-season troubles, but they stood up. The, and fair play to Birmingham. If this takeover goes through, then all I can say is hopefully you get do well next season. Next season in championship is going to be very, very difficult. But if you can secure another season in the championship, maybe get around 10th, and then the season after go for that promotion, that would be good. But yeah, the takeover definitely will be a good thing for Birmingham City and their fans. But yeah, like man said, we'll be covering more cricket stuff on the channel. So yeah, be happy, you guys, and be happy yourselves. We'll see you in a bit. Right.